everybody sing with me?
No.
Yes? Yes,
Yeah.
everybody sing with me. Okay. Let me share the screen. No background noises, please. My cutie pies. No background noises. Okay, let's start. Okay. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Gopi Jana
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna,
Jaya Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Radha, Madan Mohan Radha, Madan Mohan Shri Radhe, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva,
Krishna, Krishna,
Prabhupada ki jai. Shila Gurudev ki jai. Can all the children be unmuted now? Bhavya, are you there? Bhavya? Are you the co-host, dear?
No, Mataji.
Okay, let me make you co-host. Can you please mute everybody? Okay, so let's start our chapter now. Yesterday we were discussing chapter 9 and we did not finish it. So today we're going to continue our chapter 9. Okay. So let me just quickly pull up the chapter 9. All right. We were here, right? So today we are going to discuss section 4, the glories of Krishna Bhakti. So yesterday we discussed, can everybody see my screen or no? No, not yet. Okay. Can everybody see now? Okay, perfect. So today we're going to discuss section 4, the glories of Krishna Bhakti. Okay. Now this chapter is right in the middle of 18 chapter, right? We discussed yesterday. Bhagavad Gita is 18 chapter, 700 verses, and it was spoken for 45 minutes in the battle of Kurukshetra from Krishna to Arjuna, right? So 9 chapter is exactly middle, and we discuss, right, that how Oreos, right? Everybody loves Oreos here, right? I love Oreos. So in Oreos, or even a peanut butter sandwich, right? What do we love the most? The middle part, right? Why do we eat the bread sandwich, right? Or when you all eat some cheese sandwich, right? What does children do? Children actually open the two sides of the sandwich. They take out the cheese, eat it, and take the bread back home. Give it to mommy, right? A lot of kids do that. And sometimes what do kids do? Open the two Oreos, lick all the cream, join it, give it back to mommy, right? Because the middle part is the most yummiest part. Middle part is the most yummiest part, right? Similarly, this chapter is the most important chapter in this Bhagavad Gita. And the section which we are going to discuss today, the glories of Krishna Bhakti, section 4, is the most important section of not only this chapter, the whole Bhagavad Gita. This section is the most important section. So everybody pay attention. Everybody learn something today. And we will end up in kitchen doing something today. Okay. So today's activity is also wonderful. So let's discuss what is this glories of Krishna Bhakti, right? In this section, you will learn that everything we do for Krishna has to be done with bhakti. And what is bhakti? Bhakti is love and devotion. Bhakti is something we do it selflessly. We don't expect anything in return. That is called as devotion. Right? When you all were little, your mommies, ask your mommy and daddy, okay? And especially when you all were newborn, they had sleepless nights. Not 1 or 2. Until you all turned at least 1 year or maybe 1.5 year old. They had sleepless nights because a newborn baby wakes up at least 2-3 times a night. Okay. Their diapers need to be changed. They need to be fed. They need to be rocked and put back again to sleep. All that need to be done. And as they grow, they teeth, right? Their new teeth are coming. So their gums are itchy. They cry all night. Sometimes their tummy hurts, right? Did your parents expect anything in return from you all? Did your parents had consciousness, oh, when this child will grow up and he will take care of me, or I will become old and they will take care of me? No, they do it selflessly. A mother, when she's taking care of her child, she does it selfless. It is said that mother's love is as close as to Krishna's love. Because mother does everything for the child selflessly, right? And especially imagine when you all were newborn, you can't walk, you can't talk, you can't eat yourself, right? Mother is not expecting anything in return. So similarly, what is the love and devotion? We will learn in this section today. If today's section you learn, you actually understood Bhagavad Gita. In chapter 10, after Chatur Shloki Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna did not need any other thing to understand. He understood whole Bhagavad Gita. Rest was just a addition. So today's section and then chapter 10, Chatur Shloki Bhagavad Gita is a very important section. So we will recite this verse very beautifully. All of you, just follow me. Can everybody be unmuted? Patram pushpam phalam toyam.
Patram
Patram phalam
me bhaktya prayachati. Tad aham bhakti ashnami prayatatmanaha. Very good, all of you. Good job, all of you. So let's understand what does this verse mean. So this verse we're going to discuss in detail. Okay. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tad aham bhakti upahartam ashnami prayatatmanaha. Patram means what? Patram means a leaf. Pushpam means a flower. Phalam, everybody knows. Phalam means fruit. Toyam means water. Okay. And bhakti. Now in this verse, can you all see bhakti word is mentioned 2 times. Bhaktya and bhakti. Okay. Here is bhaktya and bhakti. And upahartam means offering, like giving a gift. Okay, what does this verse mean? This verse means Krishna is telling Arjuna, if one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, 4 things, I will accept it. Krishna is saying, I will accept it. Isn't that amazing? How simple is it? Krishna is not saying, I want to eat pizza. Go in the kitchen, everybody make me pizza and then only I'll accept it. Krishna is not saying, go to Kroger, buy the ice cream and offer me, then I'll accept it. Krishna is not saying, give me all the money. Krishna is not saying, give me your Tesla car. I'll accept it. Right? Bhakti is so simple. Isn't that? Water. Even the poorest person on earth can offer water to Krishna with love and devotion. Isn't that simple? It's very simple. Nothing is more simpler than offering your heart to Krishna. Offering bhakti to Krishna. How simple it is. You go in the fridge, go to your fridge, open the fridge, take out a fruit and offer to Krishna. How simple it is. Do you have to do some endeavor for it? Do you have to do exercise? Do you have to go and ask mommy $100 for it? Or anything? No, Krishna is not asking your money. Krishna is not asking anything. Krishna is asking simple thing. What is he simple? How simple? A leaf. You know what leaf he's talking about? I'll explain you. The most favorite leaf of Krishna is Tulasi Devi. Everybody knows Tulasi, right? You know, when you take a fruit and take it to Krishna, and if you put a leaf on it, then Krishna loves it. Krishna immediately accepts it. Because Tulasi Devi gives us bhakti. Tulasi is the very great devotee of Krishna. Tulasi is always at the lotus feet of Krishna. So Krishna is talking about one Tulasi leaf, right? Suppose there's a person poor person. He don't even have money to buy a spinach, right? The Tulasi grows in the garden, in his front yard, backyard, right? Take a glass of water, put Tulasi and offer it to Krishna, right? Even the poorest person can do it, right? All of you may have Tulasi in your house. How simple is it? Of course, then there are more leaves in our house like spinach, kale, mustard leaves, cilantro chutney, right? All those things we can offer to Krishna. when we make sabji, but definitely sabji with no onion, no garlic, right? Then Krishna talks about, pushpam, flower. How simple is that? Just go to your front yard or backyard, and if you don't have any flowers there, go to Kroger, just take one flower and offer to Krishna, right? Then Krishna says a fruit. We already discussed any fruit, right? And then water. Krishna accepts all these things only. What is the condition? Can everybody be unmuted? Krishna accepts all this only with what?
Tulsi
Love.
leaf.
Tulsi leaf. Yes, but even with Tulsi leaf, love and devotion. Yes, of course, Tulsi leaf, but with love and devotion. If you're angry and you take a fruit and offer to Krishna, right? Even if you put Tulsi, you'll say, Krishna, take it. I've just come in front of you. Krishna will accept it. No, right? So you have to offer love and devotion. How many stories you all want to hear today? Today is a story class. Did you all know that? Okay, Bhavya is saying 3, Lokya is saying 10, Anshu is saying 3, Tanishka is saying 5, Purav is saying 10. Okay, all the kids have at least more than 5. Okay, we'll do at least minimum more than 5. Maybe 7, 8, maybe 10 stories. You ready for a lot of stories? Yes, and you'll apply in your life? Wonderful. So besides this, I want to tell you all, in your fridge, anything you have, like when even your house food is being cooked, you can offer it to Krishna. As long as the food does not have any animal products, no meat, no egg, no fish, no animal products, no onion, no garlic, no mushroom. Krishna does not accept all of these. Okay. Besides that, even if you buy a yogurt and put some nice sugar and take it in front of Krishna in a disposable bowl or a Krishna special bowl, put tulsi, offer to Krishna. How simple it is. It's very simple, right? You can offer to Krishna every day. Okay. So now let's discuss the stories. Nandana has a question. Yes, Nandana beta. Yeah.
Like you said, that you can't offer Krishna no onion or garlic and stuff. Why?
You'll learn that in chapter 14.
Okay.
We will learn 3 modes of 3 different modes: passion, ignorance, and goodness. That's where your answer will come. If I tell you now,
Right.
I have to go in detail for that.
Okay.
Yes, certain foods are in mode of passion and ignorance. We don't offer that to Krishna.
Thanks.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so now you see in this picture, what is written is not the thing that matters, but the thought. With what attitude we are offering, that's what matters. Now see in this verse, what is the word here? Upaharatam. Upaharatam means upahar. Upahar means gift. When you give a gift to your friend, do you expect something in return? Oh, I'm giving this gift. No. So after 10-15 days, she will also give so and so gift to me. Is that a real friendship? No, that's not a real friendship. We don't expect anything in return. We are offering that gift with our heart to somebody, right? So this is how, when we offer anything to Krishna, the bhakti and devotion is, we don't expect anything in return. We just want to see the smile on Krishna's face. Give me 1 second. Okay, so now you see in this picture, how beautiful is the picture? You know what is the story behind it? One time, Duryodhana in the Hastinapur, he invited Krishna at his house. Okay, and he invited to him for feast. It's not turning on, Garima. He invited for Krishna for feast. You know, in ISKCON temple, on special occasions, the Lord is offered Chappan Bhoga. Chappan Bhoga means 56 different items made by different devotees. Sometime on Radhashtami, thousands of preparations are offered in the temple to Radharani. So here, Duryodhan, he is inviting Krishna in the palace to eat Chappan Bhoga, to eat a grand feast. Krishna says, no, I'm not coming. Now, imagine Krishna could have enjoyed 56 items, different items. But Krishna doesn't care what is in the plate. What Krishna cares is with how, with what attitude, with what intentions, with what feelings that invitation is offered. At the same time, Vidura, okay, Vidura's house, small house, Vidura's wife is there. You see Vidura's wife? She is a great devotee of Krishna. Duryodhana is not a devotee of Krishna. You all know that. Vidura's wife, when she saw Krishna, she became so ecstatic. She became so absorbed in just looking at Krishna that she didn't realize that she's peeling the bananas and she's holding the banana and she's offering peel to Krishna. And Krishna is eating the peel. Krishna ate the peel. Why? Because Vidura's wife is Vidurani. She's offering the peel with so much love and devotion that Krishna is accepting it. But Krishna does not want a big feast, having pizza, pasta, naan, paneer, and chole and ice creams. He doesn't care all that offered by Duryodhana, because he knows Duryodhana have no love and devotion. But simple wife of Vidura, right? She is offering with so much love and devotion, Krishna is accepting it. It's not the thing that matters, but the thought. Love is the only qualification to serve Krishna. How do we attain Krishna? We have to put a kajal. You all know the girls, ladies, mummies, older girls, they put kajal in the eyes, right? How do we see Krishna? We have to put the kajal of love, the ointment of love in our eyes. Then only we can see Krishna. How can we serve Krishna? Only through love. There is no other qualification. It does not matter somebody is rich, somebody is poor, somebody is from any particular caste, somebody is black, somebody is white, somebody is a tribal community, somebody is from a very rich kingdom, somebody is a king. It does not matter. Somebody is a doctor, somebody can be a engineer, or somebody is just a laborer. It does not matter who he is and what she is. The only qualification to serve Krishna is love. Now look at this in beautiful picture. Advaita Acharya, every single day, what he used to do, his worship. This is his Shaligram Shila. Shaligram Shila is Krishna. Many of you may not know, but Shaligram Shila is Krishna himself. Is a Shila here. So Advaita Acharya every day, every single morning, what he used to do? He used to offer tulsi to Shaligram Shila and bathe the Shila with his tears. He used to cry every single day that, oh my Lord, when will you come on the earth and help these fallen souls who are suffering in this material world? Please come down. So every single day he used to cry, and he used to worship his Shaligram Shila by offering tulsi, his tears, and Ganga water. That's the only thing he was doing. But that is the strongest thing. In this beautiful picture, this devotee, right? This person, his name is Sudama. He's not the same Sudama which is Krishna's friend. He's a different Sudama. He's a garland maker. So this garland maker offered flower to Krishna. I mean garland. He's offering garland to Krishna. How difficult it is. It's very simple. Look at the beautiful exchange, right? He's getting a glimpse of lotus face of Krishna. and he's offering garland to Krishna. Now look at this, another example. So we already discussed 3 stories. You know this story? You know this story, what happens in this story? There's a fruit vendor. She's a fruit seller. You know, in India, how people sell the fruits, right? I'm sure all of you have seen. They take a basket on their head, right? Especially in villages and even cities, right? They have a cart, they sell the vegetables and fruits on it. So this lady comes to Krishna's place, you know, and she has mangoes. So olden days, there was no money exchange. How you go to the grocery place nowadays and just buy mangoes and you give money, right? Olden days, it was not like that. If you have mangoes, you give mango, and then the other person has grains, they will give you grains. So there was a trading system. Okay. So this lady, she brought mangoes, and little Krishna, the Nandalala, he goes and with his tiny, tiny fingers and hands, he brings 2 fist of grains to give it to the lady. And as he is walking, his grains are falling down, right? He's a little child walking beautifully, and his anklets are ringing, and he's bringing the grains, and grains are falling. And by the time he comes to the fruit seller, most of the grains are gone from the hands. But this lady, she is so much attracted to the Nandagopal's beautiful smile that she doesn't care for trading. She just wants to see his lotus face and smile, and she gives mangoes to Krishna. And Krishna smiles, Krishna becomes very happy. And finally, when the lady leaves, and when she's about to reach her home, she feels her basket is very heavy. And when she opens her basket, what does she see? She sees that basket is loaded with gems and diamonds and rubies and jewelry. But even after seeing all that, she's not at all attracted to it. She doesn't care for jewelry and rubies and diamonds. She goes home, she brings more mangoes, and she takes it back to Krishna and gives him more. For her, what is more important? To see that beautiful smile on Nandagopal's face. That is bhakti, right? She's not expecting anything in return. But all she wants to see is to make Krishna happy. So we go to next story. Everybody knows Shabari, right? Shabari's story. Shabari is a very long story, but I will tell you all in a short. Shabari was a little girl, very, very nice little girl, and I won't get into there. But as she grew up, she left her house and she was serving her guru in an ashram. And her guru was about to leave his body, and Shabari asked the question to Guru that, Gurudev, I also want to come with you to the spiritual world. I want to be with you wherever you are. I want to serve you. And but she served her Gurudev very nicely, with a lot of sincerity. She served her Gurudev. So her Gurudev gave her blessings that because you have served me so nicely, in this lifetime itself, you will have darshan of Lord Ram. So just wait for Lord Ram. Now Shabari had so much love and devotion for Lord Ram. Every single day, she would broom the whole area of hut. She would decorate the pathway to the hut with flowers. She would pluck the bear. I don't know what you call bear in English. Some fruit with the seed. I'm trying to remember what that fruit is called as. But it's a very nice. We get it in India. It's called as bear. She every day she plucks, she fills up the basket, and you know what she does? Some of those fruits sometimes are very sour. So she want to make sure that her Lord Ram does not eat sour fruits. So what she does, every day she just tastes. She just bits and tastes that, okay, these are sweet or these are sour. So all the sweet ones she collect in the basket, sour one she throws away. And every day she does the same thing. She waits for Lord Ram. And every single day she selects the fruits for Lord Ram and keeps them in the basket. And she did that for many, many years. She had so much patience. And one day Lord Ram comes and he eats the fruits from the hand of Shabri. And what kind of fruits were they? They were already tasted or bit by Shabri. But Lord did not think, oh, yucky. Somebody has tasted. Somebody has, no. What is Lord seeing? The love and devotion of Shabri, with which she been eager every single day to feed the sweet fruits to the Lord. But that doesn't mean we also copy same, right? We are not at that level. We are not Shabri, right? Shabri is a very great, exalted, pure devotee of the Lord, right? If you get time, read more about Shabri. Who was she? You'll be amazed. Shabri's whole life was a dedication. And read here about her. You'll love it. So Lord Ram accepts those bear, and she's fortunate to take darshan of Lord Ram. So that is Shabri. Then you want to hear more stories, or that's good enough? You want to hear more stories? How many more stories? More? Shrikala is saying 6. Okay. 2 million. Okay. We will discuss more stories. Okay. Tanishka want 3 more. Okay. We'll discuss more stories. Okay. So another one we will discuss about Raghunandan Das. I'm sure you have not heard that story. Raghunandan Das was a very small child, maybe 4 or 5-year-old child. His father used to offer food to Krishna every single day. Like in my house, we don't eat anything which is not offered to Krishna. Whatever we cook, we first offer it to Krishna with tulsi, and then whatever comes back in the plate, the remnants of the Lord, that's what we eat as prasad. Because once Krishna eats, that whole food becomes Mahaprasad. So we eat everyday offered food, right? Remember, we all learned in chapter 4, cycle of sacrifice. If we don't offer food to Krishna, we become the thieves, right? So we should offer to every day. So this Raghunandan Das father, the little boy Raghunandan, his father, every day he used to offer food to Krishna. And then whatever would come, they would eat. One day, Raghunandan's father had to go out. Now, he thought, okay, who is going to offer the food to Krishna? So he told his son, little Raghunandan, very little. He was very little. He said, Raghunandan, listen, I'm going out today. I have some things to take care of. You feed Krishna today, okay? Make sure he's not hungry and make sure you feed him nicely, okay? So Raghunandan said, okay, daddy, I will follow your instructions and I will offer food to Krishna. So this Raghunandan leaves. Now this little boy, he gets the plate of bhoga, right? Whatever his mommy has cooked, he takes the plate in front of the puja room in front of Krishna, right? Deity. We call deity. We don't call statue. We don't call statue of Krishna or idol of Krishna. We say deity, deity of Krishna. So Raghunandan takes food. Now Raghunandan says, Krishna, eat. Please eat. I'm really requesting you. And my father has told me to offer you food. I'm offering you with love and devotion. Eat. So he's standing there. And Lord is not coming and eating. Now, do you all know how does Lord eat? You all know how does Lord eat? Lord eats through his glands. Lord eats through his eyes. Even when Lord looks at the food, that means he accepted. He eats all the food, but then he wants to give us his remnants. So with his energies, he manifests all the food back for us to eat. So as soon as we put the plate of bhoga in front of the Lord, Lord eats with love and devotion. Now this little boy, He is expecting the Lord to come out, sit in front of him and eat. So he's saying, Krishna, you are not eating. Krishna, I'm waiting here. But the Lord is not coming. And then he's crying. He's saying, Krishna, listen, if you don't come and eat, my father will not be happy. He told me to make sure that you are eating. You are fed nicely. That little 5-6-year-old boy started crying very hard. That Krishna, please come. You're not eating. Every day when my daddy feeds you, you eat. But when I'm feeding you, you are not eating. That means something wrong with me. And my father will not be happy. That's not right. Krishna, please come. So he crying so much, little boy. And then Krishna comes from the altar. From his murti, from his deity form, he comes out. He says, oh, my dear Raghunandan, I eat through the glance. I ate all the food you offered. I ate. You have so much devotion. I ate everything. I'm full. The boy says, no, whole plate is in front of me. Everything is lying. How did you eat? You did not eat. Now my father will come and ask me question. What will I do? What will I reply? So you have to eat all. Then Krishna says, okay, I'll make you happy and I'll eat all. So imagine in front of Raghunandan, Krishna ate whole his plate. And the boy is happy. He takes the empty plate out. And then his mother asked, where's all the prasadam? The boy said, Krishna ate. And then mother is confused. Then the father comes. Father said, so little Raghunandan, where is all the prasadam? For us to eat Krishna's remnants. And the boy says, you told me to feed Krishna. I fed him. He ate all in front of me.
Mataji,
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes. So
So
today,
every time when we see Krishna, why does he have a peacock feather on his turban?
okay, can we take the questions in the end? Is it okay?
Yes,
Because
Mataji.
everything what Krishna has a reason. It has a beautiful story. There's a story behind why he has a peacock feather.
Oh,
If
okay.
I go to that story, you know what will happen?
What?
We will miss out on all this offering stories.
Oh no.
We'll go on a whole different topic. So we'll take either at the end of the class or one day I'm planning to have a chit chat class.
One
Where,
day with chit chat.
yeah, we'll do one day chit chat. Okay. No questions right now. Good boy.
Okay.
So, what I was saying, I forgot.
The father comes and he's like, where's the
Yeah, so father comes and he asks, where is the plate of prasadam? We have to eat. And he says, Father, you told me to make sure Krishna eat. I fed him. He finished whole plate. And there is a long story. There is more parts to this, but I will not go there. Okay, there is a beautiful pastime connected with the whole thing. What happens next day, everything. But we'll not go there because then we'll not complete this chapter today also. We'll not go to the 10th chapter. We'll be stuck on the 9th chapter. So Krishna, the Raghunandan's father understood that this boy is a special boy. He's not an ordinary boy. He has a special love and devotion. On his call, the Lord came out from the altar and he ate the food. So much he cried, so much, and they were pure, they were tears of pure love. That's how Raghunandan is. So when we have full faith in Krishna, that when we are offering the food, Krishna will accept it. Always have faith. Don't think Krishna is just a murti. Okay, we'll just put it in front of Krishna. I don't know, he will eat or not. It's okay. I offered, I did my part. No, Krishna definitely eats. Just because we not seeing it does not mean it doesn't exist. Can you all see salt in your food? Can you all see? But does that mean your food has no salt? Can you all see the wind? No, you can feel the wind. Can you all see the wind? Does that mean that wind is not there? Right? If you are not able to see Krishna because we are not pure enough to see Krishna and Krishna has to reveal to us, then only we can see Krishna. Okay? Okay, I'll tell you all another story. It's not really a story, but I'll tell you. You know this in Vrindavan, every single day, Krishna takes the cows. Little Krishna, 7-year-old, he takes the cows and he goes to the forest. Okay, and all the cowherd boys, they all bring their cows, the baby cows, and they all join him. They all walk together. Okay, and all the mothers pack their lunch boxes. Some mother has packed lunch rasgulla, somebody has packed sandesh, somebody has packed mishti dahi, somebody has packed ghee, butter, somebody has packed nice parathas and sweets and puris and kachoris and samosas. And most of the time, all the gopis, the mothers of all these children, they are packing for Krishna. They love Krishna like their own children, the elderly gopis. So all these boys go every single day, and every single day they have a picnic. Right? It's so much fun to have a picnic every single day with your friends. They play games. They enjoy when Krishna kills all the demons. They do Jai Krishna, Jai Krishna. Right? Every day they have beautiful pastimes happening in the forest. But the lunchtime, everybody wants to feed Krishna. Krishna, my mother has sent rasgulla. And sometimes these cowherd boys, they are taking first bite and then they are feeding to Krishna. For them, Krishna is not God. For them, Krishna is their friend. Krishna is their sakha. Right? They are not formal. Even if you go and tell them Krishna is God. Okay, God, he must be God in the spiritual world. For here, Krishna is our friend. So sometimes they are making it jutha. Jutha means they are eating and then Krishna is eating from their hands. Krishna asks, hey, Madhumangal, what did you bring laddus today? Oh, laddu, let me taste, let me also eat. Because these cowherd boys, they have so much love for Krishna, Krishna don't even mind eating their jutha. Of course, that does not mean in our house, we take out an apple, we make it jutha, we take a bite and then you go offer to Krishna. We don't do that. Right? But Krishna, with full love and devotion, with his own wish, he accepts. Because everything offered to Krishna is with love and devotion. In monsoon, when all the devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they are walking from Bengal to Jagannath Puri for Gundicha Marjan, for Rath Yatra, they bring so much food for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then Govinda, he is the servant of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is always serving Mahaprabhu. So much food they bring. So Mahaprabhu accepts. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepts. Right? So these are all the beautiful stories on offering food to Krishna. Right? Very beautiful. Isn't it? Everybody enjoyed all the stories? Yes, I enjoyed more than you all. Okay. Okay, so we'll go next verse. Do everything as an offering to Krishna. Let's everybody unmute. Yad karoshi yad ashnasi.
Yad
Okay, so what does this verse mean? Very beautiful. Let's discuss this verse, okay? Verse number 27. So, what is this yat karoshi? Karoshi means whatever you do. Yat means whatever. Whatever you do. Ashnasi. Ashnasi means you eat. whatever you eat, juhosi means you offer. Whatever you offer or give away as a charity. And tapasyasi, whatever austerities you perform, do that. Krishna is saying, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me. Krishna is saying, whatever you eat, whatever you do, whatever you give away, whatever austerities you do, whatever charity you do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to who? To me. Amazing. But this verse comes after Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. Right? So what is the connection? Connection is Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. This particular verse talks about bhakti. Bhakti 2 times, right? Do you see the bhakti 2 times? Okay, but if you cannot do it with bhakti, your things, then at least do it as an offering to me. What does that mean? Let's understand the difference. Difference is, suppose today I'm deciding I want to make cookies for Krishna. Okay, so whole morning I'm preparing. I went to Kroger, I bought the flour, I bought the sugar, I bought butter, I bought everything. And I'm thinking, I have to make cookies for Krishna. I have to make cookies for Krishna. Then I take out the tray. I make sure it's nice and clean. I turn on the oven. I start making, and I'm always thinking of Krishna. I want to offer it to Krishna. I want to give cookies to the Lord to eat today. How am I doing? Because I'm meditating on the Lord. So I'm doing it with bhakti. Right? And what is the second verse? Yat karoshi yad ashnasi. So suppose mommy already made cookies. Okay? Or you already made cookies. Before making cookie, you did not think I'm going to offer to Krishna. But you help your mommy made cookies. Now you already have cookies, right? You have not tasted it. You just take it, offer it to Krishna. So whatever you eat, first offer it to me. That's what Krishna is saying. What do you do? Just offer it to Krishna, right? Suppose your daddy brought a big watermelon, right? Now daddy did not buy for Krishna. If daddy buy for Krishna, then it's verse 26. But because daddy bought for the house, what are you supposed to do? As soon as mommy cuts it, okay, let me go offer to Krishna. That becomes yad karoshi yad ashnasi. Means you already have something. Just go and offer to Krishna. Then Krishna is saying, whatever you offer, whatever you give away, whatever charity you do it as an offering to me. Right? Even if you want to do it any service, do it as an offering to me. You want to do some austerity, what austerity you should do at your age? Every morning when you wake up, remember Krishna and Radharani. Chant at least 8 times. That is your austerity. Read 1 verse of Bhagavad Gita every day. That is your austerity. So Krishna is saying that austerity, you do it for me. You do it to please the Lord. Krishna loves us. So Krishna is saying, do everything as an offering to me. Isn't that simple? Is it difficult? Is it difficult, all this? No, it's not difficult at all. It's very simple. Right? Your daddy goes and buys some big fruits. He buys apples, he buys oranges, he buys everything. Just take everything to puja room and offer it to Krishna. How simple it is, right? And how do you offer? You just say the Maha Mantra 3 times. Can we unmute and say? You can sing nicely in front of the Lord, and Lord will eat everything. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Good job.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare
Good job, all of you. You all sing so beautiful. That's all you have to do. Okay, equal to all, yet specially inclined to a devotee. Let's everybody unmute. Samoham sarva bhuteshu na me dveshyosti na priyah ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya maite teshu chapyaham. Very good. Everybody can do. This verse, Krishna is saying, I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I'm equal to all. But whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend. He is in me. And I am also a friend to him. So what is Krishna saying? Krishna is not partial at all. Krishna loves everyone equally. But whoever is rendering devotional service to him, I am his friend. He is in me. And I'm also his friend. Isn't that amazing? It's like a same example. Remember bee, honey, and sun, right? Is sun partial to anybody? No. Sun gives light to all the areas of earth, right? Right? So we discussed that example. So Krishna is saying here, I'm not partial, but the one who is serving me with love and devotion, they are very dear to me. They are my friend. I am in me and they are in me. I mean, I'm in them and they are in me. Next verse. Let's recite this verse. Api chet suduracharo bhajate mamananya bhat sadhureva samantvyah samyak vyavasito sutah. Very good. Good job, all of you. So, what does this verse mean? Let's discuss. Api chetsu duracharo means, Krishna is saying here, durachar means what? One committing the most abominable actions, means somebody makes a big mistake. So, Krishna is saying, even if somebody make a big mistake, but if he is still doing devotional service, he is considered a sadhu, because he is properly situated in his determination. So Krishna is not saying that I'm here, sitting here to punish those people who make mistake. No, Krishna is saying if they make mistake, no problem. But if they are still continuing to do devotional service, they are on the right path. And they are sadhur eva. Sadhur eva means they are like Mahatmas. They are saintly because they are determined to do devotional service. So you see, we all are prone to make mistakes, right? Why? Because of 4 reasons. Our senses are imperfect. We are prone to commit mistakes. We get illusioned. And also we have a cheating propensity. To err is human. Means we are prone to make mistakes. Right? Now you see, every pencil, most of them, like pencil, you see an eraser behind it, right? Why there is eraser? There's no need, because everyone knows that we are writing, we are drawing, we are sketching, we can make mistakes, so we erase, right? In computer and phones also, we have a backspace button. For what reason? So that if we make a mistake, we can delete it, right? So a devotee's mistakes are accidental, not intentional. Not necessary that devotee will go purposely make mistakes. No, sometimes they can be accidental, like here. This sadhu, he's sitting, he's in the meditation, right? And Parikshit Maharaj comes, so this sadhu is in the hut, he's absorbed in his samadhi, in his meditation, and Parikshit Maharaj, out of very lot of fatigue, tiredness, and out of thirst, right, he felt that he's not being welcomed by the sadhu. And what does he do? He takes a dead snake with his bow and he puts it around the neck of this sadhu. So, of course, the snake was not living snake, was dead snake. But Parikshit Maharaj is a pure devotee of the Lord. But by, I can say, accidentally, our scriptures explain accidentally, he made a mistake. Not that he purposely wanted to do it and torture the sadhu, but out of certain reasons, he did that. But Parikshit Maharaj is the one. Later on, he is the cause of us getting the Srimad Bhagavatam. Because there's a long story how everything happens. But then Parikshit Maharaj was actually cursed by this sadhu's son, Shringi, to die in 7 days. So Parikshit Maharaj actually leaves all his kingdom, his wife, his children, and for 7 days and 7 nights, he constantly hears Srimad Bhagavatam from Shukadev Goswami, and he goes back to spiritual world. So he made a mistake, but he's still considered as saintly because he continued his devotional service. So when we make a mistake, what should we do? Can everybody pay attention? When we make a mistake, what should we do? Just say, I'm sorry and walk away? Not even realizing that we made a big mistake and we should not make this mistake again? Right? So what should we do? If we make a mistake, we should be honest. Okay? We should be honest about the mistake, that yes, I made this mistake. Do not give any justification. Sincerely apologize. Right? Right? You do not defend. You do not try to prove yourself right. If it's your mistake, accept your mistake. Right? Feel sorry for what you have done. And you apologize and try to rectify that mistake. But if we are dishonest, then what we will do? We'll say, I'm not responsible. I didn't do it. It happened by itself. Or my brother did it. Or my sister did it. I didn't do it intentionally. The child can cover up themselves, right? They can be defending, right? So that's not right. It's not a right attitude. So when we do mistake, we realize, we admit, we regret, we feel bad about the mistake we have done. We rectify it, we correct it. And after correcting, we make sure we don't repeat that mistake. And we have to also remember that what mistake we did, and we should not repeat that mistake. If we don't remember, then we'll become proud, will not become the humble. Okay, we'll not go there. So next verse, let's unmute everybody. Shipram bhavati dharmatma. Ashvachantim nigacchati. Kaunteya Jnameva pranashyati. Very nice. So let's see in this verse what is Krishna telling Arjuna. Okay. So verse 31, Krishna is saying, O Arjuna, he quickly becomes the righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. Means anybody who is on the path of devotional service, and if they kind of fall down, or if they not necessarily fall down, but if they made some mistakes, okay, they are still not perishing, right? My devotee never perishes. So one of the best example is here. We discussed the Chitraketu Maharaj, right? In this palace, you see this here. He is Chitraketu Maharaj. Chitraketu Maharaj was a devotee of Sankarshan. He is already in the Vaikuntha planets. But what happened was, he had a tinge of pride. Very little tinge of pride he had. So what happened? He had to be purified, right? In a Vaikuntha planets or spiritual world, there can be no pride. There can be no envy. So what happened? This pastime describes that, we discussed this, right, in the past, that he kind of mimicked. He made fun of Lord Shiva. But it wasn't like that bad, because him and Shiva are kind of friends. But Parvati Mata took it very great offense and she cursed him to become a demon. And here he takes the form of a demon, Vritasura. And we discuss a lot about Vritasura. And then with the help of Dadichi Muni bones, this Vajra is made, and Indra kills Vritasura with this weapon. But the soul of Vritasura goes back to spiritual world. So eventually, where does Vritasura goes? He does not comes down on the earth. He did not perish. He went back to spiritual world. Okay, so last verse of this chapter. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, let's go here. So let's everybody recite. Manmana bhava mad bhakto. Madhyaji mam namaskuru. Mame vaishyasi yukvaivam. Atmanam madparayanah. Very good, all of you.
This is the best teacher ever.
Srila Prabhupada is the best teacher ever. So, what is this verse? Now, this is most important verse in Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 9, verse 34. And this same verse, with a little difference, will be repeated again in chapter 18. Little difference. Most important verse of Bhagavad Gita. If you remember this verse, you memorize it, you understand it, that's it, you understood whole Bhagavad Gita. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi yuktvaivam atmanam madparayanah. So let's discuss this verse. This is the last verse of today. Okay. So chapter 9, verse 34. Manmana. Manmana means always thinking of me. Always thinking of me, Krishna is saying. Then second part, bhava mad bhakto. Become, bhava means become. Mad bhakto. Become my devotee. What is Krishna saying? Become my devotee. Madhyaji means worshipper. Okay. Mam, unto me. Namaskuru. Namaskuru means offer obeisances. Krishna saying, always think of me. Become my devotee. Offer obeisances to me. Then Krishna says, Mame vaishyasi yuktvaivam. That means you completely, Atma nammat parayanah. That means being completely absorbed in me, you will surely come to me. Krishna is saying 4 things here. Okay, first, manmana means always think of me. Bhava mad bhakto, become my devotee. Third, madhyaji, worship me. And mam namaskuru means offer your obeisances unto me. Krishna is saying 4 things if you do, what will happen? You will come back to me. Isn't that simple? Very simple. Think about me. Pay your obeisances to me. Bow down. Whenever you go to the temple of Krishna, bow down to Krishna. Okay? Worship me and become my devotee. That's it. Is that simple? Now, there is so many more stories we can speak on this. But then one of the days, maybe in chapter 18, we'll discuss more. Or even like maybe some other day, we'll because we have crossed our time. But main thing is, there are so many examples we can speak from our scriptures that they all are devotees of the Lord, like Prahlad, right? Little Prahlad was tortured by his own father. But when he is being tortured by his father, demon father, Hiranyakashipu, what is he doing? He just folding his hands and he's speaking Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. He just thinking of Krishna. That's all. He becomes Krishna's devotee. Madhyaji is always worshipping Krishna. Even when he's in school, he has all the demon friends. He's preaching them. You know, all his demon friends in the school, they all become devotees. Because Prahlad is always talking about Krishna to them. All his friends, even though they are the demons, but they all start singing and dancing on Mahamantra. They're singing and chanting the names of Lord. And what are they all doing? They all are paying their obeisances. What is Prahlad Maharaj doing? He's always paying his obeisances to Krishna. So there are so many more examples we can discuss. But one I wanted to discuss a little bit about Prahlad. So here we will end our class. Chapter 9, we are ending here. This verse itself can take us like 30-40 more minutes. But this verse is very important. Everybody, please remember this verse. This is the essence of Bhagavad Gita, this particular verse. Okay, 934. Essence of Bhagavad Gita. Okay, everybody ready for the activity? Yes, you all got your lemons? Yes, can everybody go to kitchen? Yes, can we do? I'll stop sharing here. We'll stop recording here.